Spending too much time thinking about it and why is only going to make the situation 10 times harder, and it's going to put you into a position where you're not going to be happy with life. And just like I spoke earlier about mental health, those are things that you will be dealing with no matter if you own a business, go to school, work. Everybody deals with mental health issues. Nobody's willing to speak up about it. And if you do, we honor that, and I validate that, because it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of understanding of within yourself to say, I can't deal with this. I need some type of help. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Stay Shining, Stay Grinding podcast. I am your host, Carlos Castro, and here with my co-host,
Jose Gallegos. What's going on, guys? How's everyone doing?
That's right. This is the Stay Shining, Stay Grinding podcast, where we talk about business, talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about life skills, life hacks, anything in general to help you and anybody that may be listening to this podcast pursue those dreams that you want to achieve. How you been?
That's right. Problems and solutions.
That's right, dude. I'm amped up again. So I have my moments where I go up and down, and it happens throughout the day. You know, I've dealt with some mental illnesses early on when I was younger. So, you know, I've learned to kind of cope with that, and I've had a lot of strategies in helping myself cope with mental illness. So every time it's like, this is my life.
Yeah, roller coaster.
Every single day. So if you think it's always like this, it's bullshit, you know. And if anybody tells you it's always like that, they're lying, you know.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, especially in a world like today's age and time, you know, where everything seems to be so beautified or so perfect scale, and it appears to be there's wins after wins after wins after wins, but you know, a lot of us don't know how to express or show like the, hey bro, like right now I'm losing badly, or like failureship has, you know, overcome me or whatever. And a lot of because it's not like, how do you say it? That's not put on a pedestal, you know. You're a winner, you're crushing it, and you're doing this and that. And that's what we want to show, you know, like, oh, you know, I've been doing this, and this is a new job I got, and this is a new project we're going to kill, or you know, we're crushing it, and I got a new truck, and I got so all those things, you know. But sometimes, you know, we forget to show, like, because it glorifies it, and we forget to show.
I don't think we forget to show. I think a lot of people are too afraid, or feel as if they feel like it's not going to be validated to show the reality of what happens when shit hits the fan, or when things are not good. And I feel like those things are a lot more genuine when that does happen, because then you are actually showing true things that everybody experiences. Not everybody is going to experience the success. People may have small little successes to get to achieving the bigger one, but they're not going to achieve, they may not achieve that large success that we see a lot on social media in particular. So I think a lot of people just feel like people won't care, or they'll feel like they're afraid of being judged, or they're afraid that, you know, people might look at them differently, obviously being judged. So I think a lot of it just has to do with the fear. And I feel like I've always been like the type of person to wear my heart on my sleeve. I've always been like, you know, straightforward whenever it comes to how I feel and what I'm going through, and it's helped me. You know, it helps me a lot. But I don't know if do you deal with the same way, or how do you deal with it?
As far as what, like, well, normally, I mean, I in the last 7 years, I haven't really, I mean, it's been hard, like everything out, but it hasn't really felt as hard as it has like these last 3 to 4 weeks. Like, it got really like difficult. And yeah, I guess like you said, it's sometimes a thing where like you probably feel, or, oh, like, damn, you know, I feel like like a sucker, or like I failed at this, or this is failing, or this is crumbling. But then again, like, you stop and think and like, hey, you know, how many of like the thousands of people or the millions of people in the world don't have to go through this through business?
That's true.
So like everyone can be failing, but smiling at the same time and still promoting and still showing, A, B, and C, when in reality, like the ship is sinking, it's like, oh shit. And the reason why I say like, or like the ship is sinking or whatever, because like, for example, running a larger size company, your overhead is super big. So if it slows down, then, you got the liquid or whatever, but then it can flow like water through your hands really quickly in 3 to 4 weeks. Takes 200,000 at least to run a company this size, and in a quick month, you could just burn through all the savings and everything. So yeah, it's been interesting last 4 weeks for us right now. It just took like a quick U-turn. We were from being super busy.
You need to be a little more specific on what you mean U-turn, because you do also have the lawn care division that is still working, and you have landed a lot of large projects in the last 3 weeks. And from an outside perspective, I feel like you're shedding too much light towards the stuff that's not working out, and not really saying, hey, you know what? Like, this stuff is actually doing a lot better now. Mm-hmm. When I know we've had conversations in the past, and I'm pretty sure we've had the conversations on the podcast where your lawn care division was kind of like in shambles. It was kind of like in a position where you didn't know if you were just thinking of letting it go. I know a couple of years ago, that thought was in your head about like, I'm just gonna stop lawn care. Like, I don't think it's cutting out for us. Like, I think I'm just gonna stick to landscaping. But now you're in the position where landscaping is low and lawn care is booming, lawn care is going. And I feel like I said, as an outside perspective, that you're putting too much attention onto that landscape division and not thinking about the other child that you have. Imagine you're raising 2 children.
Yeah.
And your star child that, hits home runs every single time at bat, breaks their elbow. So now they can't play. That's the situation that you're in right now. But your other kid that is not really your star child, but he's good. He's doing his thing and he's just hitting home runs right now. Yeah. And you're kind of like focused on the one that the broken elbow, instead of, hey, this kid is actually doing his job. Yeah. This thing is rolling. Like, you've landed a few big projects in the last few weeks too, right? With lawn care.
Oh yeah. Like this last, same thing, I guess, just when one went south, the other one went north, like, opposite stock market right now. One bull run, one bear run. And the lawn care account, I mean, we landed some really good healthy accounts, some industrial accounts, I would say. And we got in a span of a month, I filled up four full days of lawn care. Just really good healthy accounts. We opened up the new route, getting a new driver. I got a little sour too on the other end, because then my other HOAs, I got, some warnings where like my guys were slacking off, mm-hmm. and I wasn't being as present as I should. So that's where it got difficult too, letting go of those giving them the trust. And then I guess they were slacking or whatever. And then once I got the notice, I immediately like now it's like different. Now I can be a little more emotionless about it and say, I got rid of the guys, and, and then one of the guys was stealing from me. So because it was funny how it turned out, because I fired the guys that were slacking off. I was hoping to keep the driver. And then at the same time, the other guys, because they were getting fired, they kind of reached out to me, and, they kind of,
they're trying to save their asses.
Yeah, they're kind of trying to save their asses. And then they kind of like, hey, look, I got something to tell you. This guy's been stealing from you, yada, yada. And I was like, well, how do you know? How do I know you're not just upset? Oh, we got him on video and shit. And sure enough, they sent me the videos and this and that. And I was like, oh, damn, like, this has probably been going on for a year. Mm-hmm. And the guy planned it out pretty goddamn good because, you know, he was siphoning or stealing a 5-gallon container of gas every time he pumped.
Yeah, and we're in California, so gas is expensive right now, dude.
And like he made it seem where like it was always the same rhythm. So those $30 to $40 or whatever the gas price is, every time he pumped, it wouldn't be different every time. So the receipts were pretty the same. So I didn't see an inconsistent pattern.
Mm-hmm.
We saw like a pattern for like the past year.
Yeah.
And when the guys told me, and then they sent me the videos, and I was like, damn. I was like, well, you know what? You guys are still out, and then this guy's out. Because at the end of the day, like they hid that from me for over a year, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to cover themselves, but you really have to think about that too. Like, they only said that because they got fired.
Oh, yeah.
And if you wouldn't have fired, the show would have continued.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is too, man, like you know, you trust these people. I gave that guy 2 opportunities. And like it just comes to show like there's no line of friendship when it comes to business sometimes. Like, yeah, I remember one time he had done something in the past, which I should have, you know, now that I realize like the history is like, it's obvious. It's just that type of mindset, that type of mentality that says, I'm going to screw this guy over. And that fulfills that person, you know? And when I talked to him this time, I even told him like, bro, like what happened? You know, I trusted you. You were my crew leader and everything. He's basically just like, oh, well, he tried to deny it. And then when I brought up the videos, he was like, oh, well, fuck it. Like, my bad. Like, you know, it is what it is. I was like, well, you know, that's not right, man. And like, I'm just saying like these things, like talking about how like, you know, landscape when it got slow, lawn care is booming, but then there's a lot of other issues that arise, you know, when owning a company with 20 plus employees is, you know, communication, employees, and working is slow. And then when work is slow, it discourages, like I was telling you, I felt bad because my landscape guys were, you know, they're not, we're working with 3-4 days a week right now, some, and I'm like giving them turns, but some of them were like, oh, well, we're probably just gonna end up finding somewhere else. And I said, well, that's cool with me because I know you need the work too, you know. And what really happened was like, it was like I got confident with 2 big jobs I had. They were like a 3 to 4 month jobs. And that same weekend, they both called me and said, one of them said, let's put it on hold. The other one said, hey, some financial stuff came up. I'm going to cancel it basically until further notice. So that, I don't know when it's going to come back. And the other one, I mean, I was just planning to piggyback onto what we already had. And that kind of threw my schedule off. And I was like, oh shit, now, you know, thinking I have from July to like August booked up, I went from like that much booking to like 0 booking.
Yeah.
So nothing the next day, nothing's that. So yeah, it's just been a process, selling, getting in front of customers. And then the holiday was around here, you know, the 4th of July or whatever. So I'm not one to like blame those things. Like, oh, it's because of the holiday, people are chillaxing. But, you know, people were not really responding. I go out, I give a bid. Most 2, 3, 4 out of them were like, oh, you're too expensive, you know. But right now, like that's just what it is, you know. Like you saw me doing the math earlier, like it's everything's super expensive. So I was like, well, I'm sticking to, even if I don't have work, but I'm sticking to my guns, you know. Like I have to. This is the price that I have to meet in order for, you know, for it to work out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, lawn care did go up, and the guys were excited, you know, because they got a whole bunch of new houses. Supervisor's going to be, you know, right now he was running the route. So the new guy starts already this next week. And then supervisor will pull out from that route and then start overseeing everything else. But yeah, it's been an interesting month, last 3 to 4 weeks, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's your optimism about the current situation that you're in right now with lawn care? I mean, with landscape.
I mean, honestly, like optimism doesn't fade away, but it gets challenged. Like it gets challenged like a lot, because in a matter of like, you know, I want to say before COVID, like we weren't even working Sundays, bro. So like my how would I say, my momentum, my pattern, my schedule, like from, you know, and I'm still the one basically being busy because I'm out selling the jobs and everything, but it felt like my train was going 60, 100 miles per hour and it just crashed into a wall. And like everything braked, you know, and I'm like, you know, it just feels different because it's not something I'm used to. You know, we're used to being so active. The guys are being so active, and you know, I actually have one of my guys who kind of took the opportunity to like start his own thing at the same time. Was like, oh, if you're a little slow, I'm just gonna, you know, I'm gonna try myself out. And for the looks of it, he's busy, you know, he's working
for the time being.
For the time being, I mean, but that's good. I mean, he needs to look for ways to, and this was like, I guess one of those not really push and shove thing, but it was like, fuck it, like it's now or never because we're getting some days off over here, and I gotta figure it out for myself. So I look that as a positive for others, and you know, for ourselves right now, like optimism is there. I'm selling, I'm calling people, calls are still coming in, so that's a good thing. So you know, we're still able to, you know, grasp at something, and
nothing is landing.
Yeah, it's just nothing has been like secured in the bag as far as landscaping. But yeah, my attention did kind of weirdly shift to lawn care a lot because lawn care just, you know, it boomed. I just had like a quantum leap.
And overall, what's happening right now is that landscape is on vacation right now. That's
a little slow.
That's it. It's on vacation.
Yeah.
You know, and that's it. Like, I think if I would be more or scared for you or worried for you if like you weren't getting any calls or you weren't getting any potential clients or if you weren't getting any work.
Yeah.
Then that would be something to question. But right now the situation is that we're in the middle of the summer and a lot of people have tendencies of going on vacation at this moment, and you'll probably start to see things pick up again at the end of the month. And that's just the harsh reality.
Yeah.
You know, right now you're just on vacation. Take advantage of the opportunity that you have. Take advantage of the time you have. Take advantage of how you can reevaluate everything and readjust the whole scenario. So then when things pick up again, which they will, then you're ready to go for it.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, if spending too much time thinking about it and why is only going to make the situation 10 times harder, and it's going to put you into a position where you're not going to be happy with life. And just like I spoke earlier about mental health, those are things that you will be dealing with no matter if you own a business, go to school, work. Everybody deals with mental health issues. Nobody's willing to speak up about it. And if you do, we honor that. And I validate that because it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of understanding of within yourself to say, I can't deal with this. I need some type of help, you know? So I think right now, like I said, you guys are on vacation, you know, I think your guys will, you know, you guys understand. You've held it down for the majority of your team for so long. They're going to understand that, like, okay, well, things are rocky right now. That's okay. It's nothing to, you know, be ashamed of or feel less than, because it happens to everybody, you know? And who knows, this situation that you're in right now may be the thing that's going to push you forward to the next big thing that's coming for you.
Yeah.
You know, I've had opportunities in my life, and not even just in business, but I've had my opportunities in my life in general where I've had to like literally crash and burn to see something that was going to be better for me. Whether I didn't want it or not, like, that's the situation that life gave me. And I found adversity. You have to find some adversity from this experience, because dwelling in your own head and dwelling in your own thoughts is only going to make it harder, and it's going to make every day longer, and it's going to make the end of or the end of that road, it's going to look further every single day.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and another thing, I mean, you're right, because I guess it's just like the impact of the change, you know, because, and then I guess, you know, we not that we're popular, right? But we, you know, we have some traction on there, and, you know, people from the outside in always probably, it's like anything else, you know, oh, you know, that looks like a nice, decent company, whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess more like I was telling you the other day too, like, oh, that's kind of like the sensation, or like the weight of failure, or like the weight of like,
The way to failure to who?
The
To
way to
people
failure,
who are
no,
viewing you?
no, for myself, because at the end of the day, it's like I need to continue, running the show, which I am, but I need to, like, the point and the objective is, like, how do they say, if you're not moving forward, if you're not growing, you're dying. And like, I'm one who, like, for 7 years have had very incremental, like, growth or wins. And then, it's normal. Like, I'm not, there has to come, whatever goes up comes down or whatever. So, and I was looking at other companies the other day, and I don't know why I was doing some research, like companies that have been around since I was a kid, mowing lawns with my dad. There's a few companies, and, they started in 1977 or whatever. Oh. They got like, 25 employees that they got, and companies that are like been around for 30, 40 years. There's like, obviously the big guys around here, I thought they were bigger, but they have like 88 employees, started from like also the 70s. Other companies started like in the 80s, 90s. They got like 20, 25 employees. And think about it, if they're from the 90s, that's like a 30-year-old company, right? How the fuck did I get from 6 years to like a 25 employee company? Yeah. So the growth of it was like quantum fucking leap to like also understanding that because I grew so fast, so quick, it could also burn down as quick or as fast too, because it's true. You got to look at it from all aspects, like, because why? Because a lot of the money or all the money that has been coming in have been reinvested, put onto, the dream or the faith, like, hey, let's reinvest, let's grow, let's grow, let's grow. But, like they say, be careful what you wish for, because now you get so big where like it's too big. And if a hiccup comes, like I said, in a month, 200K is drained on the account. And if you don't have work coming in, because you got overhead, you got a yard, office, you're leasing trucks, or mortgage on, not mortgage, payments on trucks and all that. So it's different. Like if you grow slowly and you grow some, recover some, you grow some, recover some, you grow some, recover some. I feel like I never recovered some, it's just like grow. But, I guess not here to like sob or anything. I'm just like an example of like, a lot of the guys say, oh man, I wish I was there, or I wish I was there. Sometimes you probably don't, like sometimes just take it easy, take it one day at a time, grow slowly but surely. I mean, I take it how God gives it to me. He gave me the opportunity to grow the way I did. Maybe the formula hasn't been perfect, but at the same time, it's moving forward, I'm not giving up on it. I'm not quitting on it. I'm just saying times got difficult. Times got hard.
You're on vacation. You're on vacation right now. That's it.
I'm going to be on vacation soon.
You're on vacation. You're on vacation. That's it. You gotta be open-minded about the situation, dude. And that's just a reality. If you put too much negative thought into that aspect, that's all it's gonna be. Yeah. And then it's always gonna be that. But if you try to stay optimistic, and you're very optimistic, you have to just say, keep those positive affirmations for yourself right now.
Stay shining, stay grinding.
Stay shining, stay grinding, bro. Even when it's hard. That's the whole point on why we decided to make this podcast. Why we decided to do what we do was because of situations like this. Shed light to situations like this. Well, yeah, we could be sitting here right now and talking about how great things are and how everything's amazing right now and how we don't have a worry in the world and how,
that would be fake, we always talked about how we want to come as crystal clear and transparent to people that are learning in the trade, especially if those of you who, are barely getting into it or in your first or second year, like these are all the challenges that you're going to come across, and I haven't had, luckily it's been challenging, but it hasn't been as hard as like this 7th year, and we always think, oh, it's going to get easier after 3rd year or after 5th year, it gets easier. But then you just get to scenarios where like, as sweet and sour as it's been, like it could get really sour, but then it'll pick back up. It's just a turnaround. But we're having the conversation letting people know like, hey, like this is part of the show. Like this is part of what happens, part of reality, part of like the real deal. Like, you know, you have or shouldn't have nothing to hide when it says, you know, oh yeah, we're putting out bangers on social media or this and that, or even like doing the podcast, you know, like, because I even stopped thinking the other day, like, damn, what the fuck am I over here giving advice when I'm like, you know, but I caught myself and I said, you know what, like the trajectory or like the experience that I've building the business is there, you know, whether, you know, it's not as good as someone else or whatever, but my experience, our experience building the business is there. So if we can communicate with the community and say, hey, look, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to always pretend like, you know, like everything is perfect and it's always a win and it's all booming. Cause like you said, I could be here with a mask on and say, man, like it's just been crushing it after crushing it. And then as soon as the cameras turn off, you're like, you know, back to the anxiety or the nervousness of like getting the work, you know, flowing and stuff.
Yeah, that's wild.
Because then people, you give that image to people and they think that's real, you know? Like people really believe like, damn, why am I not winning like him? Why am I not crushing it like him? Like, you know, we've had various conversations about adversity and problems and problem solving. And, you know, it just feels like this month, particularly June, going into July, has been like, you know,
a real tester.
Yeah, like from employees to like getting rid of people to hiring new people. And I feel like a lot of people that I just took on, I just hired 4 new lawn care employees. I feel really good about them. Like that's the change I needed. And sometimes you need that change. Like sometimes you need that fresh start. You know what I mean? Because the guys have been with me for, you know, 5-6 years. Sometimes when they get comfortable, they get complacent, they get like, and then plus I'm, you know, handling and juggling other things where the trust is there, where like, hey, you could get it done. I don't have to oversee you. But because if you don't oversee or like, you know, you're not as involved, they get to the point where like, well, you know, he's not gonna check. So yeah, it's a hard skill to balance, but we're doing it, you know, little by little. We'll solve the problems, turn off those fires, and you know, keep moving forward. That's all we can do, you know.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do. All right. Well, I think
what's going on with you? What's going on with you, man?
What's going on with me?
Yeah, I mean, on the other note, you're crushing it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm maintaining. I've learned from the mistakes I've made in the past, and I am in a good position right now, and I want to continue being in this position. So right now, my only focus is keeping my clients happy, and then within the next month or two is looking to expand, find more clients, and just keep building. Like
keep growing.
My whole focus is, you know, I want to make sure that what I have right now is good and everything is good, and then after that, I add just a little bit to the pile and just a little bit to the pile, just a little bit to the pile. So I have goals and stuff that I want to reach at some point in the next, you know, by the end of the year. And by the way, how things are looking, I feel like those things are achievable as long as I continue to do what I'm doing at the moment. So
build some, recover some.
Build some, recover some. Yeah. I mean, I don't have crazy overhead like you do, or I don't pay payroll or anything like that. The majority of my stuff, all, you know, it's all camera stuff and softwares and stuff that I use.
Yeah.
So, you know, it all just, you know, comes in and out, and ultimately don't even really see it. But yeah, I mean, right now, how things are going, I can't be more than grateful and happy for the situation that I'm in right now. So, yeah, it's up. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's all I can really say right now.
That's always good. That's always good because, you know what I mean? You said earlier, you've been there, been through that. So, you know, just consistency, discipline, and, you know, see the light of a better day. Or, you know.
Well, you know, I've experienced the darkness, and I've experienced the overwhelmness and anxieties that come from, you know, trying to make rent and trying to pay bills. Like I've experienced that for many years, and now I'm in a position where financially things are okay. They can obviously be better, always be better. But definitely things financially are okay. And I remind myself of those experiences too now, about like when I used to stress out
Yeah.
for like even gas money. Like I used to stress out for gas money. Like I used to have $2 in my bank account and I had to go to work. So I had to figure out how to get gas in my car. My car was on empty.
Shit.
Like I've had those experiences, and waking up with my bank account negative because, my previous employer forgot to send me my check, like stuff like that. And those experiences suck because it really does like give you a harsh reality of what a lot of people in society deal with.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people still deal with that issue, whether we want to accept it or not. And you can fake the funk. A lot of people have deal with that issue a lot.
Well, the statistics are pretty up there. Like the percentage of like what you're saying,
yeah,
it's like over 80% of people, like real data and statistics, like go through what you're saying. So let's normalize it, like accept it for what it is, but then, like you said, find a solution.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I had a lot of roadmaps and different avenues to go, and I've always been a knucklehead. I never really liked to listen to people, and I've realized that the roadmap that I'm in right now is the more fulfilling, and feels that it's the more overall adventuring. Like it feels like an adventure for me right now. I feel like I'm in a movie. Like this feels like a movie to me. Like I'm the lead role of the movie, and what am I gonna do? Am I gonna ride off into the sunset, or am I gonna burn in flames? Who the fuck knows? But I'm here for the journey. I like I said, I have goals and I have things in mind that I want to succeed.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I've gone through a lot of shit in my life. Who says I can't achieve those goals?
Exactly.
Who says I can't achieve those things? So the only thing that's stopping me is myself. And, with your experience, I've thought about that myself too. And I'm like, what if I went through the same situation you're in? You still have the opportunity to kind of, dig yourself out of the situation you're in. You have the lawn care that's kind of keeping things afloat.
Mm-hmm.
But in my situation, if I were to be in that situation where let's just say everything just takes a shit,
mm-hmm.
I have built enough confidence and self-esteem of myself and what I do to just fight through it. Like I've built that confidence, and that's what all these years from age freaking 19 to now, almost 10 years. It took 10 years for me to really understand the level of confidence that I actually have. And now I have more confidence now than I ever did in my whole entire life. And it's because of the experiences that led up to where I'm here today.
Yeah.
You stick a camera in front of me, I'm not going to look at it and just like, oh, well, well, I don't know what to say right now. Like
me, like I do,
like deer in headlights, or like if I meet new people, I'm not a fucking, I'm not an extrovert person. I'm super introverted. I like to keep to myself. I'm very calm, low, quiet dude. But in situations where I know that I need to gain something or achieve something, I will bring out the other person that I need to be in order to get what I want. We've had that experience in the past where one time we went to a barbershop, and
I was gonna tell you, I've seen
it was
it
a
in
new
action,
barbershop, and you were, and you went for a haircut. I wanted to get my freaking beard lined up, and as soon as I sat down in a chair, I put on that salesman hat right away, and I said, all right, let's see what we can do here. And I mean, they didn't pull the thing, and I get it because they're a very fresh and very, very green business. So it was kind of hard. But in any situation, whenever I do meet with somebody, I have my confidence level, whether you're a $1 billion business, $1 million business, $1,000 business, $100 business, I don't care. My confidence level will still be the same. And now too, like I'm open to the aspect of saying no to jobs.
Yeah.
I'm open to it Like before, I would take all buyers and anything that was willing to come.
Yeah.
Now I think about the long term. Is it worth it for me? Is it worth it for my brand? Is it worth it for them? And if it's not, I will be honest and tell them, because that's the one thing that I hated is when I would reach out to people and they would say they may be interested and then they ghost me.
Yeah.
And that's the last thing I want to do to people is try to ghost them when, you know, an offer is brought up. I want to be honest. I want to say, hey, you know, I don't think this is going to work. And I've had those experiences already. You know, I've had a few people reach out to me and I'm like, I don't think first off, I don't think you can afford me. That's the first thing. And then second off, I don't think you're in the position to be doing this. And I always suggest people too. I tell people, try these things first. Then in the future, 2-3 years, when your business is in a different situation, then let's talk.
Yeah.
But, you know, I know my value. I know my worth. I know how much my time is and I know how much to charge. And previously, like I said, you know, I was taking all buyers. I'd be willing to take any job as long as there was, you know, some money involved.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to take the risk, you know. Now I'm in a position now where like I'm doing, you know, I'm really into mixed martial arts. So I'm doing like, you know, little side projects just for fun.
Okay.
Like just to keep the creative spark
in
my head. And it's cool because I get to go like 2-3 weeks ago, I went to a fight and it was like, you know, it was a small regional fight, but the experience was different. The experience was new. And I was like there and I was like, oh, like I'm here behind the locker room of where all these fighters are going to fight. I get to feel the energy that happens before a fight, you know, and a lot of it's cool. Anxiety and up and down. And in that space, you know, I didn't have to think about, I have to make sure that I get the right shot or I have to make sure that I get what the client wants.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that in that situation. I was completely serene in that situation. I was just taking in the moment and I was like, this is cool. This is a different experience. This is a new experience. And I need to do more things like this to help my creative aspect.
Was it like a documentary or what?
No, I was following a fighter from our gym. And, you know, we hit it off and I told him like, hey, let's record your fight and let's see what we can do. And, you know, fortunately he lost. And, you know, but the experience was for me was like, wow, I can do this again without being paid. You know, I always try to like, so I'm a creative, you know, photography and film is a creative thing. You know, I've always been into painting and drawing. And one of my things that I do is that sometimes I become obsessed with certain things and then I end up attaching, you know, the dollar figure too much and I start chasing the money too much. And then it becomes, you know, unnecessary and you become jaded by the aspect of chasing money. And then, so sometimes every once in a while I need to do some creative stuff outside to kind of just refresh my memory, refresh my brain, refresh
the creativity,
everything and re-spark that creativity. So, you know, awesome. That's the situation that I'm in. It's been good. Like I said, I can't, you know, complain yet. I know I am going to be complaining, but you know, things are okay right now.
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's good, man. I mean, yeah, I've seen you in action. I was actually like kind of like shocked when you busted out your cell hat and I was like, what the hell, this guy? I thought, you know.
Oh, at the barbershop.
Yeah, the barbershop, you know. I was like, dang, like,
yeah.
Because I'm very introvert. Like I was like the whole time I was like all quiet there and shit. And you were just like, bah, bah, bah. I was like, damn, this guy, like, because I've never seen you sell. We hang out, we talk, we do business, but you know, to see you sell was like, that was like motivating. I was like, God damn, this guy is like, boom, boom. Like, and the guys were all hooked. Oh shit. And, you know, probably after you sat down and had the real conversation, then things didn't go through, but that's okay. I mean, it was just like the effort, the willingness to sell, the confidence to sell. Like, it was like a banger. I was like, oh shit, this guy is a whole different, like, you can convert, like, just switch sides real quick. I was like, oh shit, that's awesome. That's really cool.
It's like that. I just watched something that I sent you. It's about the fighter John
Oh,
Jones.
that was awesome.
And he talks about that book and that
Relentless.
I haven't read it yet, but just from that experience of watching that little documentary, I was like, I need to read this book. I feel like this book
was a really good documentary.
And when I saw that and I was running because I usually watch things when I'm running unless I'm running outdoors. I was watching when I was running. I was so pumped, dude.
Yeah.
I just like I was just going fast, and then I remember just getting out. I'm like, man, like I feel like this freaking documentary was like I needed to hear this. Like this is something that I needed, and the book Relentless. I was like, where the hell have you been? I was like, I need this book. Like being the cleaner and like understanding that and understanding the dark and the light of who you are as a human being and understanding how to tame it and
taming it.
It's wild, dude. And I'm like,
you sent it at the right moment for myself too, because when we had the conversation of I'm going through this hiccup, whatever. This is what. When you sent it over, I was like, we sat down. Even my fiance, she sat down with me. We both watched it. I even watched it twice, dude, and like it hit to the point where like because his parents were like, oh, why go through all this just to fail? Why go through this? Why go to school to not have nothing? Why work so hard to have nothing to show? How? And the whole cleaner thing where, you just have to always fight to be on top, or for him, he was a UFC championship, but his dark side, they used the show. There was a show, right? Where the old man,
it was a movie.
Yeah. He made a formula so he could be evil at night and shit. And then he couldn't control it no more. So he had to kill
Mr.
himself.
Hyde
and
and Dr. Jekyll.
Yeah. That was very impactful at the moment. Cause sometimes you're in a certain situation and that clip you send pretty short, sweet, quick, and to the point. I was like, oh fuck, man. Taming the side of you that just wants to say fuck it. You gotta really control that, tame it, and work on like the development, the skills, the attributes. What can you attribute or put into their business?
And if you really think about it, like think about the people that they talked about in that documentary. We'll add the documentary in the description because it was really good.
Yeah,
really good.
You should, so people could watch it.
It's at the end of that movie, I think it's called Dr. Hyde and Mr. Jekyll. I think that's pretty it. That's what it is.
Yeah, Dr. Hyde and Mr. Jekyll.
At the end, the doctor kills himself because the darkness overcame him.
Yeah, he couldn't control it.
And that's what happens to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it happens to a lot of people in addiction as well, The addiction consumes them, they end up overdosing and dying. And that's what ends up winning. Yes. And in retrospective, if you think about it, like they quote like Mike Tyson. It was in the small skit of Mike Tyson wins. And Mike Tyson went through the same thing too, where he was in his prime. He did really good. And then like in the early 2000s, late 90s, he started to just hit the fan. He was bankrupt for quite some time. And people don't understand that Mike Tyson was like low. Like he was in a low. When he had this show on Adult Swim. I forgot the name of the name. I think it's something Adventure or something like that. At the time when they were recording that show, he mentions that he was literally just working so he can make money. Like he was taking
just
anything.
To survive, yeah.
But now you look at Mike Tyson and he's like, he like revamped himself. Like everybody loves Mike Tyson again. And when everybody used to be afraid of him, nobody wanted to work with him because they were like, he's a loose cannon.
Yeah.
And he talks about it. And he talks about that darkness that he had to overcome. He talks about that fear he had to challenge and face. And, same thing happened with Tiger Woods. The darkness was brought into light. And now what are you going to do about it?
Pretty much ended his career almost.
Pretty much. But then now he revamped it again. Yeah. It's like, it's crazy. Like, what are you doing to change that? And that goes back to full circle to what we talked about in the beginning of this podcast.
Yeah.
What are you doing to change where you're going through right now?
I'm revamping, boy.
Revamping.
We're revamping. Stay shining, stay grinding.
All right. I think that's it. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. A little wrap. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this one. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys following, subscribing, share it with a friend. If this could be useful for somebody, go ahead and share it. Pass on pay the due by passing it along to somebody you know that may be, going through similar things, can use some similar advice. Like you said, we're not millionaires. We're not people that have, created this crazy freaking companies, but we're in the trenches, we're in the struggle, and figuring out every day. So
yeah,
thanks for tuning in, guys.
Stay shining, stay grinding.
Ciao.